Hey, Micah, I have to ask you some painter questions, obviously. Do you guys know anything about Jaden yet?
You know what? Right now, we don't have anything specific in terms of his injury that's happened to him. But obviously, for us, he'll be able to make it back for us at some point. Um, you know, not tomorrow's game, but we're hoping for the best. With his rehab, and we're not sure how long he's going to be out. But his spirits are high, and we think that it's not a major injury, so he should be able to be back sooner rather than later.
Um, how did Ethan do in his first game? Obviously, he kind of comes to the forefront now, especially with obviously not having Jaden here.
You know what? Like for what you kind of expect from Ethan's performance, I think anything we got from him these last two games was a positive. Because he practiced with us, he was doing things, but he's still a freshman, and he's got a huge learning curve like anybody else. But to miss so much time of practice, and then to not even be 100% sure that you're going to play heading into that weekend. He obviously had gotten a couple of practices in, but it's not like he got a full week or a full 2 weeks under his belt. Like, he got like two practices, and now he's thrown into the fire a lot more. He plays in that first game, but now the second game, he had to play a lot of minutes, and I was thrilled with how he did,
Right.
Just based on where he started physically, and how he kind of handled their pressure, how he handled things. He made mistakes, but his first time playing major college basketball, I was pretty thrilled with what he did.
Right. Matt had said, I think last week, that he thought Eric was a little bit ahead of schedule. Do you guys have any sort of ETA on him?
We don't yet, but he is. He looks like he is ahead of schedule, and fingers crossed, knock on wood, there aren't any setbacks. But he's moving around pretty good in practice now, and you could probably see him if you were watching the game, like cheering on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Like he's moving in the right direction. He's still not practicing or anything like that, but he's feeling a lot better. And
Right.
it's still day to day with him, because there's days where he does some things and it doesn't feel good the next day. So kind of his pain tolerance and threshold of what he can handle is kind of what's holding him back right now.
Right. When you went back and watched the Clemson game, anything you need from your guards from here on out while you're shorthanded? That makes sense.
Yeah. I think a little bit of what we need from everybody. I think everybody kind of took responsibility for all those turnovers, and our guards got the lion's share of them, or the majority of them. But our whole team needs to recognize what was happening to those guys. How they were being pressured. How we can help relieve those guys at different times throughout the game. So those are things that we've worked on here in the last few days, and you really got to chalk that one up to experience. That's what this season is going to be about. And this is a growing process for us. And test number one, we didn't handle it great, and now what happens when we get to the next test? Like, how do we respond from it? So our guards watched a lot of film. We've done a lot of work the last few days of continuing to make them better in certain areas and see certain areas. But now they have to do it in real live action again, and transfer what we've done in practice and transfer it to games.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit about Oakland?
Yeah, I mean, Oakland is like, you're seeing their practices. This is like Greg Campy's like putting his practices on TV for everybody to see. And that's what it is right now. You know, if you watch them early against Xavier, you say, man, they're not a very good team. But then when they put up the stuff about how their team is not practiced for, 3 weeks and then jump on the bus and go play, after 2 practices, and then, you're playing Xavier, you're playing Toledo, you're playing Bradley, you're playing 3 really good teams, good programs. Then you travel a day later and go play Michigan. Then you travel a day later and go play Purdue. Like, they're getting better. Right. They're getting better each and every day and each and every game. And, I think their confidence is growing. It's hard. Like I talked about with Ethan being out for so long, and then, they have a new team that hasn't all been together. They got new pieces that they're trying to mix together. And you saw that early, but now as the games go, they're starting to gel a little bit. They're starting to pick some things up from Coach Campy. So it's going to be a good test for us. They'll challenge you in a lot of different ways. And even though they don't press like Clemson does, their zone defense causes turnovers. They're forcing people into, over 16 turnovers a game. And I think Michigan had 20 last night. So we're going to have to be sure with the ball again, make sure we're getting good shots.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. The last thing I was going to ask you about is they had some success with their zone against Michigan. You didn't see any zone in Florida yet. All the new guys you have, you feel like you're pretty well prepared to play that against that style of defense?
Yeah, that's one thing that, Coach mixes it up, throughout our fall camp and, getting ready for practices. He mixes in when we're going against zone, when we're going against man. So it's not just a cram session for 2 days to get ready for Oakland zone. We've been doing it for a little while. So, now there's things specific to what they do that we've worked on, but you feel pretty good about it, but we also don't play it every day either. So they're obviously going to be better at it, right, in the game than how we are in practice, but we feel pretty prepared for it. And now we have to transfer, what we've done to doing it in live action.
That's what I needed. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Carm, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I just want to follow up on, how do you go about helping the guards kind of lessen the turnovers? How will that process, or how should that process work for you guys?
It started, kind of in practice of really working with those guys in individual situations versus full court pressure, one-on-one, handling, doing those things. We've watched a lot of tape with them of how they handle, instead of, doing things a certain way, let's watch and see how we did it, how we can improve from it. And let's translate what we watched to the practice court. So those are things that we've kind of done. But then, like I said, we've also worked with the other guys about, how do they help relieve the pressure? You can't leave those guys on an island, when they're being just hawked for 94 feet. So relieving them early, getting early catches, playing higher on the court to start our offense, getting it out of their hands a little bit earlier, setting screens for them in the backcourt, just all those things that that we can do that I think we'll be better at the next time we face that much pressure. And kudos to Clemson. Like they recognized that we were down people, and they turned the dial up a little bit on us, and which is what you should do when you have an opponent that's not at full strength.
Right. Was the Clemson game similar to last year's Florida State game where you guys had a boatload of turnovers, and then figured it out after that a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. It's just so early. Like, what we do, we get used to playing against each other, without having a chance to play other teams. That's really the first time that you see something like that. If you think about going into games last year, we tried to play certain teams maybe in the preseason or the fall where Providence last year would change defenses, would press some, would do those certain things. A Green Bay team that may pick you up and change defenses and press a little more. Like, we didn't have that liberty to play against a system like that in an exhibition or in a scrimmage. So, our practice session was live. It was on CBS Sportsnet, and we obviously didn't pass it the first time. But the good thing about college basketball is you get to play other games, and there's no shame in losing a game on November the 25th or whatever it was. We get to bounce back and see what our resolve looks like early, how we respond to our setbacks.
What did you and the coaching staff, kind of see out of Brandon Newman in the two games, and kind of what do you want to see here over the next maybe week or so? Yeah,
I think the one thing that we knew going in, and the thing that people are finally getting to see, is just like, Brandon wants to win. Like, his tenacity is kind of through the roof, his competitiveness, and like, that showed. Like, sometimes it's his biggest strength and his biggest weakness. But he wants to win so bad, and he's going to do whatever it takes. And we had him in situations he's never been in before. He's up jamming the ball and guarding certain people in the full court, and he hasn't worked on that or done that in practice. But to be able to do that on the fly in the game, was a really big step in the right direction for him. So, for us, he needs to continue to learn, learn what we're doing, learn our system. He comes up every day after practice and he watches film. So he wants to get better, and he's going to continue to get better. And, those are the kind of guys that you can live with their mistakes. And, he's trying to learn, he's trying to get better, but, he's going to compete night in and night out. And, when the bell's rung, he's going to be ready to go.
Did you guys do anything, I guess, with Trevion? I mean, he got off to a slow start offensively in the two games. And is it just a matter of sharpening some fundamentals, or is there kind of a renewed focus that needs to happen?
Yeah, a little bit of just renewed focus of, things that are working, to continue to stay with them, and really hammer it home. There's, some of the shots that he missed were shots that he makes. And then, he took some tougher shots than he probably needed to. So really just playing to his strengths more and staying within that. And, and then, I don't know, he plays against a 7'4" guy every day in practice. And, sometimes he has to get creative in how he scores around him. Well, now you have to realize that you're not playing against that guy in the real game. And you don't need to go to certain shots. Like, you can stay with your jump hook. You can get to the middle and score it that way, because there's only one Zach Edey out there, I believe. I hope. I don't know. I hope there's not any more out there. But you go against him every day in practice, and Zach gives him problems. And he's a big challenge for him, and they push each other to be better. But really just a concerted effort to keep it simple, do what you do best, and stay consistent with that.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone have anything else for Micah?
One
Ryan,
more,
go ahead again.
Quick. Hey, Michael, one more real quick. With the guards you have, can you run all your stuff?
Yeah, we can. They've shifted around. That's the one thing with having, Sasha can play on any of those guard spots, and, Isaiah can, handle the ball and be a point guard. Ethan can. And, we've worked even throughout the fall before Ethan went out with Isaiah moving over and playing the 2 and Ethan the 1. So they've all kind of intermixed and intermingled in those spots. So we can run all of our sets. We can kind of do different things with them. So we still have that versatility to be able to do that.
Right. I just didn't know from an experience perspective. I didn't know how much Isaiah had at the point guard position last year. Obviously, Ethan missed so much practice. I just didn't know if that kind of tied your hands behind your back at all.
Yeah. No, Isaiah's good. Especially at the one spot. He played off the ball a lot more last year. So,
Right.
He knew a lot more of the two coming into the season than the one. So, no, we're pretty good in what we can do, and we still have kind of everything at our disposal with these guys.
Thanks, Micah.
Anyone have anything else? Steven, go ahead if you're ready.
I think just seeing Zach Edey was named co-freshman of the week just a little bit earlier today. What's your reaction to that news, and kind of what have you been seeing out of him through these first 2 games?
That it's one thing that Coach Painter shared with us coaches yesterday is, he watched film with Zach. And Zach told him he wants to be coach. He's eaten all of this up. He hasn't played. He doesn't have as much experience as a lot of the other guys, and he's soaking everything in. And just like I said with Brandon Newman, after practice, Zach Edey's up here with Coach Brantley watching film every single day. He wants to learn. He wants to get better, and he and Trevion really compete against each other in practice, and they're making each other better. Because they make it hard on each other. And, that's all you can ask for from Zach. That he did some things that were, impressive for a guy his size that not a lot of people have seen. And, he's going to continue to be challenged throughout the year. People are going to try to attack him in different ways. People are going to, whether it's offensively or defensively, he's going to see a lot of different things. So, he's going to have his moments, and Zach's going to have his ups and downs as well. But he wants to get better, and I think he's going to continue to get better. And congrats to him for getting that honor. But I don't think he's going anywhere celebrating that tonight. He probably wants to get another one, or shoot for Big Ten Player of the Week next week, and let's just use this as a stepping stone and see what week 2 looks like for you.
Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
Anyone have anything else? Awesome. Thank you, guys.